All right, we're less than, what, 2.5 hours from this first debate between the president and Joe Biden. So let's get an insider's take on the preparation that goes into these debates with the senior advisor to the Trump campaign for debates, Rick Ahearn. Rick, great to see you again. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Sean. It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So, Rick, you and I worked together last cycle. You've been doing this for a while. You really focus on these preparations, the logistics that go on behind the scenes. Tell the viewers something that they need to understand about how much preparation goes in beyond the two candidates on that debate stage to get ready.
Well, there are three key elements in the preparation for any debate, and that's the two candidates' teams and the debate commissions. We meet on a daily basis. We negotiate every little thing from the type of podia that are used to the type of microphones that are on each podium, who has which side of the stage, who's got which workspace, how many tickets are going to be issued by the commission to each campaign. There are a lot of small details to be worked out, everything down to how will the two principals be introduced and in which order will they be introduced. All those require negotiations. And in
what
some
side
cases,
of the podium do you got? Which podium do you guys want?
Well, we have stage right for this debate, but we have to do it on a debate by debate basis.
So, I mean, did you want stage right?
We preferred stage right, and the Biden campaign.
Can I ask why? Why do you want stage right? Is it because of the hair? I mean, what's the thinking?
It's simply the personal preference of the president.
Okay.
He preferred stage right in the debates 4 years ago as well, and we were able to succeed in attaining that.
Interesting. These are always the things that people don't think about, that there's so much detail and planning go into it. Rick, while this is a very anticipated debate, it doesn't have the fanfare that previous presidential debates have had. You know, there's no handshake at the beginning. The crowd is very small. How is this going to affect the candidates?
I don't think it will affect them at all. Unlike the primary debates where there is a lot of cheering and jeering from the audience, we usually have a silent arena or silent environment for the general election debates. There's no applauding, there's no cheering, there's nothing like that. So even though we have a small audience of about 80 people, 20 from each of the four entities involved, the Cleveland Clinic, the Debate Commission, the Biden campaign, and the president's campaign, I don't think it's going to have an impact on the performance of the principals.
You know, Rick, I remember last time we had an issue with the president had an issue with his microphone at that first debate. How important is the walkthrough to make sure that the candidate is comfortable with the debate setting, the stage, and what goes on to make sure that all of those little nuances are taken care of now in a COVID environment?
Well, you may remember, Sean, from the first debate 4 years ago, he did have a problem with his microphone. Some of us were not aware of it because there were two separate feeds. There was an audio feed into the hall and an audio feed separate for television. Most of us were in the staff space watching it on television and did not notice any problems with the microphones. However, they did acknowledge there was a problem with the in-house mic. We're addressing that this time by having an audio technician in the area with their audio technician to be sure that we don't have any problems like that. The walkthrough is very important to different candidates to become comfortable with their surroundings, where the cameras are located, which camera is on when, and the president is fairly easygoing about this. He's a very quick study, and his walkthrough is usually relatively brief. But he is concerned about audio, and we've addressed it significantly in our discussions.
You know, Eric, a lot of times you do have some interactions between the candidates. As I mentioned, there's no handshake, but there's also no spin room either at the end where the candidates have the opportunity to speak to the media and usually maybe have at least bump shoulders potentially. Anyway, how is that going to change things for the candidates that there's no interaction really between them? We won't see that handshake in the beginning.
I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. I think there'll be discourse between the two principals, the two candidates. The hope of the commission, as they've expressed it, is that each of the 6 segments will open with a question from the moderator. The first question will go to the president in this instance because of a coin toss. And then he has 2 minutes to respond, followed by 2 minutes of a direct response by former Vice President Biden. The commission is then hoping that the remainder of the 15 minutes will have a lively discourse on that subject, the first one being Trump and Biden records. So we'll see how it goes from there. And of course, it'll be up to the moderator. So you guys know
what so that's literally, when they announce those subjects, you know what subjects are coming first, second, third, fourth?
Well, they announced that.
I just didn't realize the order was that. But it's, you actually know the order, not just the subjects?
I'm not certain of the order. I mean, that could change, but we do have the subjects. We don't have the questions, of course, but we have the subjects.
No, that's the Democrats that get those.
Well, you said it, Sean, not I.
So let me show you a thing from the Washington Post. Chris Wallace says he wants to be invisible as the debate moderator. You mentioned some of the negotiations that go back. Is there any negotiation that you have in terms of what role the moderator will play or anything in that world?
The moderator pretty much sets his own pace, how involved he is, how many questions he asks. As I mentioned to you a moment ago, it's the hope of the commission that, with the exception of the first 4 minutes of each section, and there is a timer in front of each of the podia that shows how much of your 2 minutes is gone, that they hope for a freewheeling discourse or discussion on each of those 6 subjects. So if it's lively and it's going along on the subject, then the moderator can be somewhat silent. If they devolve from the subject, then he has the right to speak up and get back involved and ask another question. But the order of question is at the beginning of each segment, beginning with the 2 principals.
All right. We are just about 2.5 hours away, Rick. I wish you the best of luck tonight. Thank you for joining us and giving us this insider's perspective.
It's my pleasure, Sean. Thank you, and Lindsay, for having me.
All right, best of luck. Lindsay, one quick funny thing I'll tell you later about that Rick mentioned coin toss. We'll talk about it later in the show. Got a funny, interesting story when it comes to President Trump about that. But next, Nancy Pelosi says Trump's taxes are a national security concern. Congressman Lee Zeldin will weigh in on that right after this break.